In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, I would like to extend to you my greetings of peace and love, and express my joy for launching the Finnish translation of the book Shi'i Islam, Origins, Faith and Practices. This book originally was conceived as two series of lectures I had on Shiite studies in 95, 96 in Qom for international students of Jama'atul Zahra, the seminary for women, and then in 98, 99 in Manchester, UK for the Shia community. And then I was asked by Islamic College in London to compile a book on Shia Islam. So because for several years I was engaged in reading and teaching this, I accepted, and I tried to design the book in the way that I thought any reader of religions and denominations would want to find. So in 2000, 2001, when I was in London after finishing my PhD in Manchester, for 1 year I was in London, I was engaged in finalizing the text. So we tried to have something about origins of Shia Islam, explaining the technical and the literal meaning of the term Shia, but also historical development of the Shia, and show that this goes right back to the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then there is a mention of the early Shia, and then I decided to have a chapter on Shia resources in understanding Islam, which is the book and the Sunnah, including the teachings of the Imams of the household of the Prophet, and intellect, which is very important for the Shia, and consensus, which after careful consideration goes back to the Sunnah. Then some of the major teachings of the Shia, and many of them of course are shared by all Muslims, but there are also some which are accepted by Shia, and maybe in some areas, for example, some schools accept, some don't accept. So sometimes Shia is not alone. For example, when it comes to issue of Diwan justice, so we have Shiites and Mu'tazilites who are called the people of justice, Adliya, and they share the objective and rational approach to understanding moral values. So the Shia are those who believe in all these doctrines. And then some of the practices are explained, and a little bit of philosophy behind them, like prayer, like fasting, like pilgrimage to Mecca, giving alms and homes, enjoying the good and prohibiting the evil, and a struggle for the sake of God, and associating with the friends of God and disassociating from the enemies of God and humanity. And also I thought, in addition to doctrines and practices and history, my prospective readers may ask, what's the difference between Shia Islam and other schools of Islam? Something which is not a particular doctrine. What is about the whole, you could say, flavor, the whole, attitude. And this is where God helped me to come up with a trilogy of rationality, spirituality, and search for justice. By that time, I had not seen, and still I have not seen, any literature produced before compilation of this book that introduced these three as major characteristics of Shia Islam. So, thanks to God, this was the first time that this was articulated, and later I shared this with many people inside the community and outside, Muslims, non-Muslims, and many people found this very important. Even in 2015, when we had the dialogue between the Shia Muslims and the World Council of Churches about how to avoid misuse of religion to justify violence, I said that these three should be available, and any religious understanding which can bring these three together, there would be no room for misusing it for violence. Rationality, spirituality, and search for justice. I gave lectures on this. Some years later, then other scholars also mentioned this as, for example, characteristics of understanding of Islam by certain contemporary Muslim leaders. They didn't say it as a characteristic of Shia Islam, but they very much mentioned that this is the characteristic of one of the great contemporary leaders. In any case, there have been people with rational approach. There have been people with a spiritual approach. There have been people with, justice-oriented approach. Even sometimes people who combine two. But to be rational and at the same time spiritual and at the same time have concern for social justice is not very common. I think this is a contribution that Shia Islam can offer to all religious landscape. And if we all try to live by these three, I think lots of problems will be solved. And then finally, there is a chapter about the current situation, some statistics about the Shia population in different countries, which have a considerable population of Shia, and also about the holy cities. Thanks to God, the book was very well received, and it has been already translated into many languages. I am grateful to Sheikh Abbas Bahmanpour for translating it into Finnish, and thanks to the publisher and to those who pursued this. Now this book is available for you to read in Finnish. I hope soon we will have another publication, which is, I think, a good follow-up for this, because for many years we've worked on compiling dictionary of Shia Islam with about 1,328 entries covering doctrines, practices, history, occasional calendar, great leaders, narrators, and books. And this book was published last year in English. At the moment, only in English, and I hope it will be available also in Finnish. May God be with you, and may God help us and our generation to build respect, peace, and fraternity for all children of Adam and Eve. I hope we will soon witness a day that every human being, despite their differences, they would live together peacefully and respectfully. May God be with you. Thank you.